I'm Okina Blue, and this is the Anime Roundtable Stream Edition on this, well, it's a brief one, Saturday afternoon, January 17th, 2026. Make sure you wear your safety goggles. I'm glad you mentioned that, Maharaja. Give me a sec here. I just don't know if I could, yeah, that probably would be a good idea today. Okay. How do I look? How do I look? Okay, so actually the experiments today probably won't explode, at least into my eyes. They still might blow up in a more figurative sense instead of literal. I'm going to let you know the first part of the experiment is probably what you see right here. First of all, whoever's listening, I hope you can hear me properly. Through my earphones, the microphone I'm using sounds very, very echoey, and I guess it's just the way it's going to be monitored through the Vocaster. But if you haven't taken a good look, I finally took out what was in my, something I bought over the, back on Black Friday. Back on Black Friday, there was a sale on wireless microphones and things that are more geared towards content creators. And one of the things I bought was a DJI mic. I bought a Mic Mini. Here's the case, and I had yet to open it because I didn't know how I'd integrate it, at least in terms of the regular parts of the show. But in theory, whenever we were going to do on recordings away from 6 points here, I wanted to at least have something a little bit more portable, a little bit more of a portable option, and this was on sale. I know that, if I remember correctly, Hero Harmony, when I saw him at Anime North last year, he was going around doing live streams of him and his friends going around the Anime North events. And when they came to see the podcast and my panel last year, I noticed that he was wearing Hollyland microphones, which is a good budget brand from what I understand. I just got these price was right. And DJI is a pretty good brand. They're more known. I know they're more known for their Osmo camera, I think that's what they call it, and their drones, but I'm pretty sure the microphone is top-notch, whichever way you want to go. Obviously, this is one of their more budget models, but considering what we'll probably end up doing with it, it's probably going to work out very well, and considering the budget we're on anyway. But I know that there are more higher-end versions of the mic out there. But I thought this was worth trying. And when this might work perfectly in case I'm too lazy to do the full setup. But I also figured out a way to put hook the receiver up into our usual interface that I use for these streams. That was actually the last hang-up. For now, it's as good as the battery lasting, and I think the receiver and the mic will be able to go for the hour that we're going to be on today. So that's the first part of the experiment. I'll show you we'll get to the second part of the experiment a little later on in the hour. I guess hour. Let me get the timer going. Give me a sec here. As I said, we'll just go with we'll try and do this whole thing within the hour. One of the nice things, one of the things about having this microphone is I can stand up a little bit more, walk around the studio, and you can hear me clearly. About the only thing that we need to figure out next is maybe the camera. Although I'll give you a hint as to some of the things we'll be doing with it a bit later on. You see the stuff behind me. Back behind me, and hopefully you can hear me a little better now. Worst, let me just quickly backtrack a little bit. If worst comes to worst, the regular microphone, the Shure mic, is right here beside me. I can use that if needed. And it's on the ready. I can activate that and we can continue the show as is. When Tim and Sid, let me put it this way. Remember, you can walk around, but you're still attached to the headphones. LOL, I made that mistake a lot. You know, when I get up, I always take off the headphones anyway, though, Maharaja. Okay. Tim and Sid. In the latter days of the Tim and Sid show on Sportsnet, they went radio simulcast again. And one of the things they did was they constantly were in use of two microphones, a lapel mic like I'm doing here, and then they had the regular mics. Most of the time they were using the regular desktop microphones to talk into, and those were picked up. But if for whatever reason they got up and walked around the studio, the technicians and the switchers made it a point to quickly switch to the lapel mics that they were on, and that's essentially what we're aiming at with this setup. As I said, when we do more setups where it's we have to be a little bit more compact, a little bit more mobile. Oh, I got a phone call. And this one's kind of important. Can I get back to you in a minute? Truth be told, that was a little bit of an important call, but we got disconnected, and it's unrelated to all of this, but hopefully we'll be, and I get the feeling they'll call back in a few minutes, so we'll deal with it when we do. It's coffee day. It is a coffee day. If you've been around the Toronto area the last couple days, you know it's been snowy. It's actually a mild day compared to the last couple. We're just at about the freezing point when in the last couple days, with the snow, with the wind, with the freezing precipitation, we've been well below it. Today is a bit of a reprieve since we get just slightly above freezing, but then I think in the next couple days it's gonna be cold again. As good a day as any to have a nice coffee right now. Today I chose to get a coffee. Okay, where was I? Train of thought. Yeah, DJ, the microphones. One thing we can do with the microphone too. This was the plan also when Neil came back on. Be able to use these microphones instead of the more traditional desktop boom mics. I don't know what the term is, but to use the Shure mics in the future. But this is a good in the snap, and hopefully we can use it to record without having to bring along the whole studio, like any significant portion of the setup, right? But that's the idea with these microphones, and bear with us. It might prove useful for some future streams even here, and I'll hint that to you in a few minutes. You can see the stuff already behind me, and I guess that's the heart of where some of what we're talking about today. I have a confession to make from earlier in the week, kind of on impulse. Oh, this timer has not been running. Hopefully it works now. I think the battery's dead. Okay. Well anyway. What's the source for these? I was considering getting lavaliers. Do you just plug into the base of the Rodecaster? First of all, Maharaja, it's not a Rodecaster. It's a Vocaster 2 that I'm using. I have two interfaces. So I have a Vocaster 2. I can't really show it to you on the camera because it's just lying here. And it's hooked up via 3.5. This is the receiver for that. Yes, you could. There is a Bluetooth option. It's a little bit more complicated to hook it up to the interface. Truth be told, if you have the 3.5 millimeter plugs, you could do this, or 3.5 to a XLR. That it would work. You can probably hook up the receiver like this. Bluetooth might work. It's a little bit more complicating to get it to work on a Rodecaster and a Vocaster. It's probably possible. I just really didn't give myself more time to look it up. But that's the solution I used, at least for today. My guess is I will get a cable for like an XLR and a 3.5 audio cable to be able to hook this into an interface in the near future. And truth be told, maybe that'll be an idea for the future, especially after the complications of the 5-man table we did last week. The episode 98 has been up for much of the week. Hopefully, there really isn't too much to add to the episode at this stage, at least that we have to add. So I fathom that any further follow-ups we'll probably add in the usual recordings, in the usual set of recordings that we do. I think I already know one of the first complications of this, of these microphones. You can already hear. I think you can already hear that the cord here will knock into the microphone quite a bit. By the way, it is magnetically held. I have yet to decide if there's another way to do this. Here, let me try some. Maybe place it a little bit further up on my lapel. I don't know yet. But yeah, so to answer your question, Maharaja, yeah, there is an option for Bluetooth on this. I'm just not using it today. And truth be told, I'll probably use a shorter cable in the future. But it was just sitting around, and it works like a charm. It works actually pretty good in this case right now. So that's, yeah, since it's, you're getting technical on me, Maharaja. Let's see, 3.5 to XLR is always better since it's tip ring sleeve. It will be less noisy than Bluetooth. Yeah, and maybe in more simple terms, wired, if you could get away with it, always helps, right? So that's a likely scenario in the future for this as we try and make it work. Anyway, so here's the confession from earlier this week. On impulse, when I woke up one morning, I decided to start reorganizing some of the more recent manga and light novels and books that I bought over the last roughly 12 months. And after I was done, and really organizing it and putting them in boxes for either storage in the archive down below, or who knows what later on, but it would be just easier to access. In one sense, easier to access, and in another sense, maybe just keep it a little bit more tidy. It's a bit of a mess in here still, but with everything, but the reorganizing helped actually quite a bit. I felt guilty about it though, because maybe that was worth a stream. And truth be told, it didn't take too long. So I decided to completely deconstruct everything that just happened and place most of it back here on the kitchen table from a couple days ago. And then when I'm done, I'll put it back in the boxes, which are sitting to the side over there in the hall. And maybe I'll be able to get you a little bit more close up. Maybe the beauty of the wireless. The iPhone is connected to the computer wirelessly as well. So maybe I can move it, and you can get a slightly closer look at how everything looks in there. So there's the books. You can see the Optimus. You can see the Optimus Prime. Yeah, that's there. You probably see the figure right in front of Optimus, Chinatsu. It's Chinatsu. Anybody who's really in the know of this knows where I'm going to go with it, and I'll get to that just a little bit later on. But there's a reason I placed the Chinatsu there, and we'll get to that a bit later. So there's the collection. I'm going to come close to the collection. You can and I'll go with I'll show you a little bit of what's in it. I don't know if I should bring the camera close to some of it. But here, let me see what I can do, and you can see what's actually here, right? Or maybe I'll just move around a little bit. So hopefully, I know you guys can probably hear me through the microphone, but I'll point out what's here. Most of it is stuff that you already know we've talked about over the last year, and you, truth be told, you saw me unbox actually. In past episodes. So, truth be told, you saw me unbox. But yeah, there's Alia, most of that, some of the hardcover version of 5 centimeters per second, the novel by Makoto Shinkai. If you look behind it, the volumes of Angel Next Door that I presently have, the only two I'm missing is 6. I'm only missing volume 6. I'm just looking at my need list here right now. 6, 5.5, and the latest one, volume 9, the Omnibuy of Orange, which I got used along with the My Dress Up Darlings you see here, which is one short of the last one. The volume 15 is supposed to come out in the near future. 6, 7, and 8 of Fragrant Flower. I finished reading volume 6 actually, but I'm starting to collecting it. But I'm going to start with the volumes that I've yet to read before backtracking a little bit. All a Blue Box. It's been my talk for much of the last year, folks. And then behind all of this is Days with My Stepsister. Just 3 random volumes, but so I'm going to add to them. I'm looking to add to them within the week or within my next order. And then the entire The Girl I Saved on the Train turned out to be my childhood friend. It's the entire series there. They're asking you to pay $20. These books, well, at least they're about 200 pages. I guess it's fair value, if not total value, if not more bang for your buck. But those are, and then you can see Vinland Saga. Really one I wanted to read. The manga version of My Stepmom's Daughter is my ex. Hey, I wanted a hard copy version of it somewhere. And then if you look down here, aside from the Makoto Shinkai stuff, the last volume of Teasing Master Takagi-san and the manga version of Alia. Spy Family and Kaguya-sama actually sit in a box. I couldn't bring those out right now, but at least they're stored away. But they're sitting in a box right over here, and I really should get back to that. This is still one I have to get around to reading. With all the talk about Sony taking in the Peanuts, with all the talk that's happened over the last couple weeks, I showed this off earlier, like during the summer, but I still have yet to read this. I really do want to read this manga version, this manga biography on Charles Schulz. So there's that. See, the cool part about having this microphone is when I hold stuff in front of me, it's not covering my voice. It's not covering my mouth enough that a microphone will have trouble picking things up. But there you go. That's what's behind me there. Well, anyway, that's it. If I had any real time, or we were really up for moving around a little bit more, maybe you'd see me putting that all back in their boxes, and maybe that's how we'll do that. Hey, that could still happen. We still have roughly 45 minutes to go in this mess today. So I'm also figuring out the circumstances by which we'll assemble the Optimus Prime behind me. People are still trying to make suggestions about that. Have you tried being so loud? It sounds like you're always yelling. I guess maybe because I just want, if I'm doing this, I just want you guys to hear me properly. Maybe I should turn down the gain on this. Let me just try that, okay? How's that? How am I doing so far? Maybe that helps just a little bit more. The gain on the receiver was turned to, well, its highest point, and I can adjust that with both the. Oh, I'm joking. I'm talking about myself. How well can you hear me, Maharaja? I'm just wondering. I'm really just wondering. Actually, give me a second. Maybe I'll try adjusting the microphone just a little bit higher on my lapel, on my shirt here. Here, how's that? So maybe the microphone cord can't hit a little harder. I'm just going to put this back up to 12 here, so maybe I can be heard just a little better. I sounded okay even back there. Okay, thank you. Let's just try it this way for now. Anyway, I've yet to figure out the circumstances by which we'll eventually do the assembly. Like, gotta go have a great stream. Maharaja, Happy New Year, dude. First time I've seen you here. Have a great Saturday. Thanks for stopping by for just a couple minutes. I really, really am happy to see you here. Okay. Let's quickly continue this. I'm just going to adjust my gain just a little bit down, dial down the gain just a little bit here to 10 decibels. I guess that's okay. Okay, I've yet to figure out the circumstances by which we'll do the assembly of the Optimus. I am thinking it's one of three things. One, I'll just show, I'll do it off stream, and then you'll just see the progress for each stream. Two, we'll do it in pieces. I'll do live streams of parts of assemblies, like for a little bit at a time, and then we'll end, and there'll be in a series of streams. Or three, and this is the one that I know people would want, and you'd really, really have to dare me to do it. We can just do it all in one really long stream, which I get the feeling, as I've hinted before, would take a day, or take hours certainly to get together. I know the assembly, or I get the feeling the assembly happens in stages. So I have yet to look at the instructions. I've yet to open it, quite honestly. And then, I've yet to open it, so I don't know exactly what will be involved. And truth be told, it hasn't given me a sense as to how long these type of things would take. I'm pretty sure I can look that up. I'm pretty sure I can Google it. Maybe I will. And then, but the encouragements, we'll talk about what that encouragement will be a bit later on. But there it is, sitting back behind me. Just rest assured, it won't be opened before, it won't be opened at any other point before all of this. I'm not going to open it any time, before the next time we chat here. Hinamizawa victim, why not? Why not what? Why not open it now? Oh, well, because I know I can't start with it yet. That's why I can't open it. or I'm not going to open it right now. I'm not going to start with it. You have the day off, Hinami? Just wondering. Anyway, I know I won't even be able to start it, so that's why I'm not even bothering today. Besides, I want to dare a few people, do a dare. And I just got here, so I have no context. Yeah, I'm trying to understand or try and talk, wonder under what context will we be doing the assembly of, and yes, I'm not working. Enjoy the Saturday. The context by which we'll start assembling this Optimus Prime. Am I gonna do it off stream and then just show the progress in each subsequent stream, or are we just gonna do it? You do streams in little bits at a time, in a bunch of through a series of streams, or are we gonna do one stream and try and figure out how to get all 1,508 pieces together? I think that's the number. Anyway, one thing. I was thinking maybe try and get a little bit, try and make a bit more of an event out of it. But let me think about how we're going to do this. I'll get back to you. But as I said, I won't open it until I make a decision as to how we'll do this, okay? Anyway, hope I sound okay, Hinamizawa, because I'm trying something new. I'm trying a wireless mic for the first time. The regular mic is right on the ready as well, so... But you can probably see this this new microphone sitting on me. I'm trying this for the stream today because I can walk around a little bit more if I have to get up. And regardless, hopefully the microphone picks up just a little better. But that's where we are today. That's some of it. Okay, some of the other stuff to talk about today. In many respects, I'm going to try and link together everything we talk about through some sort of 6 degrees of separation, at least in the next little bit. So let me do my best, and we're going to tie it into some of my present watch list, which is to say, how far have I gotten? I think I'm past episode 7 of, let me just double check here where I am. Yeah, I think I'm past episode 7, just presently on my watch list, anime-wise. I did continue watching Days with my stepsister. And I know that I finished episode 7 of that. I think it was episode 7 a few days ago. Let me just be absolutely sure. No, it was episode 8. I finished episode 8 a few days ago, so that's that. And I guess that leads me to one thought for today. And that leads to some of the other experimenting. Ghost Mikawa, who's actually the author of Days with My Stepsister, was asked a little bit about, or did in a Twitter post, and it's been translated, and somebody translated it. He talked a little bit about the future of the Mixed Media Project, of the IP, and I guess there's an indefinite hiatus in this. I don't know if it's an indefinite hiatus of the YouTube channel. Actually, here's the experiment. An indefinite hiatus of the show's YouTube channel, and why at this stage it's unlikely that we'll see a second season. And just in talking about it, he or they, because we don't know much about Mikawa beyond the pen name, they hinted that it's just the reality of the current industry trends. Money is always at the center of it. One is cost, but two, how much of it would be profitable. And I guess with the trends and cordays and seasons and narratives going, 12 or 13 episodes at best. As I said, I came from a time when 26s were considered common. Anything where you get your narrative done in 26 episodes, give or take, or more. But now we are seeing, but that's anything getting close to 26 these days in a season just seems very, very rare, or a whole series in 26. you have to be able to do it in stages, in cortes, probably of 13 or less, and hope that you get to a checkpoint, and maybe even hope that you are able to continue, but more often than not, you're not able to. Anyway, I want to leave that thought, as especially, yeah, and that's what Mikawa was sort of hinting at. Animation studios don't think it would be profitable, and I guess it's also the reason why they aren't as daring as they used to be. They stick with formulas that are more tried and true, so there's not as much experimenting. And planning happens years in advance. And then even if money is available, he said, sometimes it's just a matter of having the entire staff available. And that's probably the last thing Mikawa seems to worry about, right? Potentially force a team together, that alone wouldn't guarantee a second season. Forcing production without all the original staff could result in bad quality. And maybe we're seeing some of that with other series. I think One Punch Man is kind of suffering from, I don't know if it's a new studio or new cast, but I know people have lashed out at some of the at production staffs through, I think it's One Punch Man's current season. And I'm not sure that's necessarily fair either. But in any event, the cost of anime production is rapidly increasing, making it harder to produce high-quality shows with the same previous budget. That said, Mikawa hopes to eventually do this again. Here's the experiment I wanted to give everybody. I've been trying to at least add a little bit more in terms of, well, show web pages just a little bit more now. The only problem is when I switch around, I can't always. You'll end up seeing you'll end up seeing a bit of the way the switch goes. So I can only keep up if I'm going to go into this mode. If I go into this mode, I can only. Well, I can only. I can't really keep up with the chat, right? But that's a little bit of what you're seeing here. This is the article I referenced, and a big shout out to the guy who wrote this, to Carlos Sotomayor, who did this, who actually has written this piece talking about the translation. And this is from automationmedia.com. And it is also on the Twitter account of Ghost Mikawa as well. So there's this also kind of has my attention there. Once again, I only mentioned I have 3 of the 6 released English volumes of Days with My Stepsister. So hopefully, and by the way, you can see, if you look at the top, you can see some of the other tabs I have open. Anyway, but there's all that, you know. There's all that. There's a lot to unpack on that one, and that's a bit of a sad story to know that's the case. That, you know, we talk about how pop culture these days, things like video games, things like anime and manga, we're seeing the tension between art and business more and more these days, and you know, the mixed media IPs is probably the biggest thing going, is probably the biggest example of these type of things. And once again, I'll underscore the point. It's amazing how one part of the media of that mix ends up advertising all of the others. And once again, maybe if you really want to know the rest of the story after watching the anime or reading the manga, it's probably in its core source, and in this case, these days, a lot of the times, it's the light novels. But that's something worth keeping up with. Okay, so let's go through the other parts of all of this, which has me thinking of Chinatsu. You see Chinatsu there, right? Well, The reason I have the figure here, and let me go get her. Let me get the Chinatsu figure for a second here, and we're gonna quickly say happy birthday to the woman who plays her. Rina Ueda turns 32 today. So there she is. This is her official website, and she's known for a bunch of other, like, this is the part that I know her for right now, but she is known for a lot of other roles in recent years. That's just as noteworthy. And I'm going to go through let's go through a little bit of that because it's worth mentioning. But so Chinatsu is the one I know her for. She plays Kanao in Demon Slayer. She plays Mio, the main character in My Happy Marriage. Wow, this list is pretty good, and this is a pretty good list. Going back to my days with my stepsister, she plays the stepmom. She plays Saki's mom in Days with My Stepsister as well. So this is a pretty good list of stuff that she does. She's in Solo Leveling as Cha Haein. She plays Reze in Chainsaw Man. So this is quite the yeah. She plays Malo in Pokemon. I'm just looking through this. This is a hell of a list, I have to say, and all at 32 years old. But she is one of the top Japanese voices going there right now. And today, well, let me show it again. It's her birthday, and you can see there's this is a fairly old, long non-updated page, but there you go. Happy birthday to her, as you can see. And so she turns, once again, she is 32 today. There you go. Anyway, so that's why I had the Chinatsu out. There's that. So we'll just, I'll put Chinatsu back in front of the books. I won't waste the time packing them right now, but we'll pack them. I'll pack them after we're done today. We've got about half an hour to go. I don't know what else. What else is there to mention? Oh, the other reads. Guess I'll do the diary of my reads. Anyway, there's some of the information from that. So happy birthday once again to Miss Ueda. Okay. And as I said, there isn't too much to add today. Recent reads. Yeah, I have been continuing reading Otonari Asobi. I'll show that. Let me show that to you guys quickly. This is why, now you know why I can't quickly do the switch over. I know there's a workaround for this, but that's how I show. That's the one way I can show off web pages, right? But I can't switch between OBS, my OBS view, and this without something complicated happening here. These are the things I do have to deal with, right? So yeah, this is I'm still reading the light novel version of it, and as it is, as it is, I've just gotten to volume 2 of this. I am told Otonori Asobi gets a little bit more complicated at a point in the web novel version, but who knows, right? It does have me wondering. This is a Shueisha brand. This is a Shueisha published manga, and as noted in the wiki, it's mentioned that it has done well in Japan. Second silver award at the second Shueisha Web Novel Awards 5 years ago, almost 5 years ago. 140,000 copies in circulation by the end of 2024. So I guess it has a little bit of a fair amount of a following. At least I can kind of see it. So there it is right there. Anyway, Anyway, that's my current read on the light novels. Just continuing that. If you got a couple sales on over the last couple days on some digital web novels. I mean, you can't really lose when you can get the first, like, essentially the first two volumes of 80,000 Gold in Another World for like $1.50. So maybe it's worth at least to the look at and see if it can get you addicted within 2 volumes. So that's now in my own Kindle library. That's some of my current reads through the light novels. And Chitose and the Ramune bottle. I did finally start reading the manga version of that. So I did start reading the manga version of it. It's I know I'm kind of reading too much into its premise, but it did have me thinking about something from my own high school past about, and I know I wasn't among the popular people back in elementary and high school, but it had me thinking about the ones who were, and how over the years I became friends with some of them since high school. How I became friends with the popular people back in the day, when I was in high school, and one of them. And I was and towards the end of high school, and I still keep in touch with her. We got very close, and she made me think about, like, when we reconnected again back in the late aughts through Facebook. She talked a little bit about being popular back then in high school, and how it kind of burdened her a little bit, and how being popular and how being smart, she was smart, how that she had to keep up those expectations, and how that ultimately stressed her out during high school. So she made me think about, like, reading the premise of Chitose here made me think about her a little bit. And she's an old friend. I still keep in touch with her. I haven't talked to her recently, but I know she's long married, has 2 beautiful daughters. But I should reach out to her and maybe mention this story to her at some point. Maybe she'd be curious. Curious. And I don't know if she'll remember the conversation. I'll be quite honest. But I started reading that. I essentially read the equivalent of volume 1 of the manga through the Manga Up app. And I've enjoyed it. I just have to really give myself more time to read it. But there's a lot of other things on the plate through that. So I know I'll probably watch the anime in the near future. Once again, it's probably the same hang-up that's keeping me from watching Demon Slayer right now, because the debut episodes of both Demon Slayer's Hashira arc and they're double-length episodes, and I'm not so sure I'm in the mood to sit through a double-length episode right now, but in any event, there it is. I owe people an apology. It admittedly was a busy week. I'd hoped to be able to put up a good social media dump of a number of shorts. I did get a fair number out, but not to the same degree that I had hoped when I set out to do this last week. At least I got the episode up. At least I'm up to date in terms of the streaming shorts. But I did want to put up a few more audiograms of moments from recent past podcast episodes. So that's more a work in progress, and maybe that'll be the next experiment you guys will see some of the results of. But that's neither here nor yon, right? At least you can see some of the stuff that we've been working on. As I said, I still have to come up with a nice little trick for what we'll do with that. And then maybe if and when that's completed, I will have to give a thought as to what we'll do next. It could be a sound wave, it could be a bumblebee, or it could be a Star Trek Enterprise. The Star Trek Enterprise one, looking at the info concerning that, that one would take a while. I think it has more than 3,000 pieces and would look quite the effort to build. Actually, funny enough, my best friend sees the figures, and he keeps telling me, "Why do you have all these figures of girls?" Which I guess is a fair question for him to ask. But my only reply is, if I ever finish the Optimus Prime, well, there's nothing wrong with liking them. It's not a bad question, because of the things I was into. But I know that if I finish the Optimus Prime, it would nicely balance some of this out. Truth be told, I hope to add a few more figures in the future, and if I do, you'll see what they end up looking like. Yes, I do like, and I do enjoy doing them. I do enjoy collecting them. So it is, nothing wrong to express your love that way, right? Anyway, how am I doing with the experiment, by the way? Just showing off some of the, at least being able to get some show web pages a little bit more, right? But, what else is there worth mentioning, right? Okay, there's Falling for Her Secret Side. I mentioned that I had read the manga version of this. There's the announcement of it being picked up. I had read the manga version of this over the last couple weeks. I did finish it. As I said, if you're suffering from withdrawal from things like Days with My Stepsister, or especially Angel Next Door, this probably will tide you over. I do, however, know it is a web novel, or it was a light novel and a web novel. That has completed as well, and if you dig around, you can find translations of it. I have. Once again, coming back down to the moral dilemmas that I brought up last week with all the stuff that is out there right now, legally, officially. Many of us still love to turn to scanlations. So, to scanlations, I guess the next frontier in all of this, being away from the anime side, since the anime has not figured itself out, but obviously we're in a different place with that. Manga, we're getting there. Light novels, I think, are the next frontier in the fan sub world, or in the fan scanning world, and it's well there if you do your digging around. I mean, you can find websites that keep up that curate and keep up with all of this. And there are translators everywhere, and I guess you still see that for sure in manga, although obviously we're a little further along in that development. But there's a lot. But at least since my curiosity after reading Jinsei Gwakuken, or Life Reversal, and knowing that's based off a web and light novel, and then digging around a little bit more and knowing how how light novels are basically the core material of a lot of stuff I've been watching lately. So as I said, I've just gained a little bit more of an appreciation for or curiosity reading more light novels, and I'll probably eventually go back to reading the ones I actually do have originally, because I see Toradora and Haruhi staring right at me on my bookshelf over there. So, yeah, one passion, the passion could end up bleeding over back officially, and it'll go to and from. But it's been fun to be able to read all of this in many different ways in recent times. Anyway, there's anyway, that's all that. The other thing, I guess, on the read list, I did mention my Kaguya-sama books sitting to the side. Presently, I was on volume, or at last check, I was on volume 4 of it, which is right here. And I kept it wrapped up like this, hoping I can make this into an effective book cover. That's failed so far, but I get the feeling this material hasn't failed me, will far from fail me, and I'll just have to figure out a way to use it properly, or use it in a way that that would work. I get the feeling it won't be a book cover for when I'm reading, but just for a book cover when I travel with this. Maybe I can wrap this up for safekeeping every time, so I can throw it in my bag each time. But you know, that's and truth be told, since I've gapped it again and not been able to read this lately, I get the feeling I have to start Kaguya-sama over again. So this is volume 4. I've enjoyed it, but I may have to start over. So that's the way life goes, isn't it? Anyway, how much more time I got? Oh, 15 minutes. Let me just take a sip of coffee. Anyway, hope the experiments have turned out okay today. Right? By the way, Hinamizawa, Maharaja was here earlier, so I was glad to see him, just for reference. Just and pass that on, will you? Pass that on. As I said, it's just nice to be able to do something, and maybe we can make this a habit to at least chat. My only real regret is, yeah, I saw the earlier chats. We just missed each other. Great, yeah. Well, Hinamizawa, you're the one who introduced me to him, so thanks. He seems like a great guy too. My only real regret right now is right now I can't do any video games. Right, I don't have the time to really be able to do that. Yeah, he really is. I don't have any time to do that, but honestly, we're just still getting used to, you know, doing things the way we are at the moment. Kiwami 3 is set to come out. Maybe I'll be and who knows, maybe I'll play River City Girls, because I think that's actually a request of my best friend to play that, because he's a big fan of the original River City Ransom. So I said I'd have it, and maybe I play that at some point in the near future. So maybe that could be an idea for the next game we play. Don't know yet, but I think people are getting tired of just me showing off some of the manga stuff, right? I know it's kind of repetitive, but but you know, this is stuff I'm happy to. You know, I love expressing my fandom in that sense, right? But that's there. True. Honestly, and there is a to do and to buy list. So I have to pick that. Let me just get that for a second. Yeah, with the cool part about being able to reorganize the books, or to organize the books better, is I was able to at least know what I do actually have here right now, among all the titles that I am currently collecting, and what would I need in the near future, what I have to get, and so I know that there's not quite 20 volumes that still are to come, at least of what I know is coming out in the near future. But at least I know what's needed. Much of the to want list in all of this are of the future volumes of these titles, or the volumes I'm missing of these titles are stuff that has not actually been released yet, or probably only was released recently. So I know what I am pursuing in the near future for this stuff, right? Anyway, there's the list so far, right? There's the list. But that's where we presently, I guess, presently sit. Yeah. Well, okay. What else is there worth talking about today? You tell me, right? As I said, I'm happy to be able to get a couple minutes to try a few things. I mean, it's one of those. It's one of those. You regret not trying this sooner. A lot of things like I talk about I talk about articles and websites, but I really couldn't come up with an effective way to show them off on during the stream. But now I have at least one way to do it. Same thing with doing multi-streams. Wish I did it sooner, but we are where we are. But I'm glad to finally do it. Maybe streaming altogether. Yeah, it took longer than I thought, but I'm glad I'm doing it. So this is just one of those. Well, we'll just evolve it as we go along, right? I mean, that's really as much as we can do. So, James has always said, or even all the encouragement you get when you start these projects, it's not going to look great the first time around. It's not going to be polished. This is something that'll just have to, you add to and you evolve with time. I mean, the wireless microphone, this microphone to be able to walk around a little bit more freely, so you can hear me a little better. That's part of the adding on and evolving how we're going to do this in the near future. Hopefully, I sound okay to everybody who's listening today. And as I said, really the purpose was to try experimenting with some of the new ways, and some of the ways that'll hopefully help out and make things look a little better as we do things in the future. One thing I do have to mention, though, we still presently sit at 29 followers? I thought we were only at 28. But we still have yet to hit that 30 goal that had been on for much of the show's history. I don't know who the most recent follower is, to be quite honest with you. But there we are. So we sit one away from the first follower goal. And maybe that's part of the idea for, maybe that's part of the impetus for eventually doing the Optimus Prime. But the target will probably be way more than 30, obviously. So I'll set a number, and maybe I'll dare the rest of the world to be able to do something with that. Okay. So anyway, Optimus Prime. Hopefully we can get an assembly for that in the near future. I think I do want the Soundwave to eventually be the next one. The one thing I don't think we'll ever see among the Lego sets is a Megatron, because remember, Megatron was a gun back in those days, and a pretty, for its time, convincing looking gun. I don't think we could do that anymore today, right? The times we live in, folks, the times we live in. But I get the feeling I'll get the Soundwave to balance out the Optimus Prime, and together they can try and counteract Chinatsu and the gang over here. But there's a thought for everybody. Okay. So about a little over an hour into this whole thing. Let me finish the coffee, and then we'll call it a day. Get to the other stuff. I can get some time to repack all the books, and then fully pull out the other books there, and then get on with our lives today, right? It is a good day. It is a nice day out here today, and hopefully it is wherever you're taking the time to watch. And maybe it's just a good day because you just, it's a Saturday. And in my case, I can relax and do whatever you want to do. So, try and enjoy yours, whichever way you could. Oh, I wish there was other stuff I could share with you today, but that's as much as I could really think of. I didn't get to see the books. Oh, Hinami Izawa, you want me to show you the books one more time? Maybe I'll do the last part of the experiment by bringing the camera close to the books. Okay, will that be good? Because the camera is detachable. I can bring it up. The camera is detachable from this point. So I'll tell you what. Let's try that and let's try that. You can see some of the stuff we have here. I'm going to detach it from here, and you can kind of see what how it looks, okay? Okay, how's that? Okay, so hopefully you'll be able to see some of this. And no, I can't really do much about the focusing. So, but here's everything that I had. And once again, this is basically how everything, much of the last 12 months, how my books are much of the last 12 months. Orange, you can see the orange omnibuses here. Sorry about the focus. 5 centimeters per second, the hardcover version, the actual novel version of 5 centimeters, and children who chase lost voices. The manga versions of Alia here. Sorry if you can see that. And then right behind it, I don't know how well you can see that, but there's the light novel versions of Angel Next Door Spoils Me Rotten. More Alia. There's Alia right here. Blue box, Vinland, the volume 14 of the hardcover of Vinland Saga. Fragrant Flowers. Sorry, there's no viewfinder, by the way, on the iPhone. So I can only tell you, I have to look at the screen here and be able to refer to what's how the image you're actually seeing there. My Dress Up Darling, Fragrant Flower, and right behind it, you can see Girl I Saved from the Train and Days with My Stepsister, the light novels. So there's that. And once again, happy birthday to Chinatsu's Japanese voice, Reina Ueda. There you go. See? As I said, this camera is, that's how that works. It's a little bit to figure out, as you can see. And I can only make it work so well, but hey, once again, this is how we're evolving everything. The problem with this camera, this phone now, is the battery is bad, so every time I have to, oops. Okay, I didn't break this yet. Every time I have to, come back and replug it back in and all that. There you go. But there's what we do, right? So that's an idea for the future. And well, truth be told, I probably the thing is, I took the camera off the stand. That's this tripod also can act as a selfie stick. So that could have been something I could have done with this earlier, truth be told. And I just chose not to. I'm just still trying to make it work, right? I just thought because taking the tripod off, or taking the tripod off the table might be a little bit more complicated. So I'd just rather just take the camera off the tripod and then work from there. Here, let me try something else. Well, as I said, the experiments will continue as we go, right? But how did that go? Did it work for you? Anyway, that's as much as I got. I'm pretty sure now we're pretty much done. But yeah, there's the collection right there. Oh, how did that go? Yes, it did. Yes, it did what? I know I've asked my questions too fast, Hinamizawa. So, but I hope that helped, and hope that works out okay, right? So you can see what the most recent part of the collections looked like. It worked, yeah. Well, as I said, we'll just try and make this work a little better. Pardon me. I guess the next parts in all of this is maybe a ring light, a better lighting for all of this. But as I said, one thing at a time. We just keep adding to all of this. The other pieces of equipment and the way we'll do this, and hopefully it leads up to Neil visiting again in the near future. That's as much. That's as much as I could think of to want to do today. And Not a moment too soon, because my 1 hour timer I know is about to end. Anyway, that's it. Glad. I want to visit if Neil comes. Well, we'll when we can confirm that, I'll let everybody know. I'll let as many of you know as possible. Okay. Anyway, that's as much as that's on my mind, because when it comes down to it, I want to get back to actually doing stuff today. So, anime, if you're watching this on YouTube or on Twitch, please leave a comment down below or give us a thumbs up. It greatly helps all of us. Oh, time is up. If you have any other questions, comments away from that, animeroundtable.com. You can find our email address, or we're on most socials, whether it's Twitch, X, Blue Sky, Instagram at Anime Roundtable. You can see some of the shorts we've added, even TikTok. We're on most socials at Anime Roundtable. And animeroundtable.com, you can find a link to the YouTube page if you can't easily see it here. And as I said, give us a thumbs up if you're seeing any of this on YouTube. It'll greatly help. Also, if you haven't already, give us a subscribe on YouTube, a follow on Twitch, or a bookmark wherever you get your podcasts, so you know whenever we do something on any of those platforms. And hopefully it won't take hopefully I'll be able to get a little bit more time to add to all the socials and add a few other things maybe worth watching and listening to. And hopefully we'll do something else very soon. Probably, I get the feeling another stream, unless the others have time to do a space heater before the end of the month. But that's as much as I got on my mind. So thanks for bearing with me. Hope the experiments were a success. I think we did fine. I'd say they were a success. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll just go repack my stuff. Bring the boxes back out and put these away. And maybe I'll actually read some of it. I'll let you know what I find out. I'll talk to you, hopefully, and hold me to this. Hopefully I'll talk to you next Saturday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.